What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Another mock draft Monday, a little later in the day than usual. But we're going to start off this one kind of like how I usually start off, just going over some of the news. This time of year, not much news, but I don't know that I did it last time, so I just wanted to catch up. There are a few things that have happened, more just like speculation. You see it on the screen here. It's going to take like 30 seconds to go through all of this. But I thought I'd catch everyone up to speed. So the Jags might not pick up the fifth-year option on Fournette. Doesn't matter at all for us this year because he's going into his fourth year. So I know some people will hear that and be like, oh, is he not going to play for them this year? I mean, that only affects his fifth year, and this is not his fifth year. The Raiders are going to offer Brady a bunch of money. I still think the most likely scenario is that Brady stays in New England. But I would say that's most likely because it's like 60 or 70% likely. Definitely a chance that he leaves. Rivers is out of LA, so if we're thinking about all the skill position players on the Chargers, we need to take note that we don't know who their quarterback is right now. And if it's someone like Tyrod Taylor, although he's not a bad quarterback, it's definitely like a downgrade. So we got to keep that in mind. But then there's a chance they get an upgrade, so we don't know who's going to go there. Jameis got LASIK. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know how much you could see before. It's probably not going to change anything, but interesting to see that he had surgery. Robbie Anderson, unlikely to re-sign with the Jets. He's asking like 13 to 15 million a year. So we'll need to see where he goes, and we'll need to see who they replace him with. And that'll affect everyone on the Jets, and it'll obviously affect Anderson. Rashad Penny might not be 100% for week one, coming off of his injury, but we are so far away from that we have no idea if he's going to be ready. But it's possible, keep in mind, that he could open the season on the PUP, which would make Carson just incredible for that first portion of the season. David Njoku could get traded. There's some rumblings around that. So depending on where he goes, he could be more or less valuable than he is right now. Kenyon Drake might get franchise tagged. So right now they have David Johnson and Drake. DJ is not going to get cut because they owe him so much money, but they could trade him. So if they trade, I don't know, DJ in a third for like a fifth round pick or something like that, then they franchise tag Kenyon Drake. He's probably like a top 2 round pick. I'm not even kidding about that. Like if they get rid of David Johnson and they remain with just Drake and I guess Chase Edmonds, Drake is a very, very good pick. But it's all going to depend on how that unfolds. And then Freeman is likely to be released just because, he's had so many injuries, getting up there in age, and they just owe him too much money. There's only so much in the cap. So we're going to do a mock draft. I apologize last time. Apparently it was on standard. The base setting for Fantasy Pros is half PPR, so I figured they would make that the base when you do a mock draft on there. But for those of you who are doing mock drafts right now, know that you do have to switch it to half PPR. So we're doing half PPR. We did later in the draft last time. We'll do early draft this time. So I picked third pretty randomly. The normal setup we always have: 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 1 flex, 6 bench, no kicker in a 1 quarterback league. So we'll start the draft. I don't know what this is. Not now. Oh, I should have picked yes. Let's try, shouldn't have I? Whatever. We'll go with the old system that they had. So we are third. We got Christian McCaffrey and Saquon. Yeah, that kind of seems like how it's going to start out. So our options: Zeke, Dalvin Cook. Let's just go by down here. Zeke, Cook, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones. These all seem pretty reasonable. And then you're really only contemplating Michael Thomas at 1. You guys know my general strategy is if we're this high in the draft, we should probably be locking up one of the elite running backs. There are plenty of wide receivers. We can find middle and late rounds, plenty on free agency, and we only need to start 2 of them. So I typically don't lean Michael Thomas, obviously a great pick, but I would pick a running back here. And I mean, right now, having done almost no research for the year so far, I mean, it's only February right now. I guess my lean would be Zeke just because, I don't know, he's suffered very few, if no, injuries in his career. We know his role in the offense. We know the touchdowns will be there. He's such a safe pick. So picking Zeke, can't really go wrong with that. Any notables? So we get Kittle and Kelsey go in the second round. Josh Jacobs goes second round. Lamar Jackson mid-second round. Other than that, it's everyone you would expect. I'm not going to run through every name, but it's first. So this is actually interesting. First, 8 picks, only 1 wide receiver. That was Michael Thomas, and then it was Hopkins, and then Tyreek Hill. So only 3 wide receivers in the first 12 picks, and only 1 wide receiver in the first 8. So everyone's kind of got that similar strategy. Let's do high drafted players. So still not looking at tight end. I wouldn't think. Ooh, wow. So the rankings have Mark Andrews. We'll just look at this, I guess. So Mark Andrews. This is after, of course, like I said, we've already had Kelsey, then Kittle get drafted. So we've got Mark Andrews, Ertz, Austin Hooper, Walker, Ingram, Henry, Cook, Higbee. There's a lot of like pretty solid tight ends. You could actually wait pretty late this year, it looks like. Still all the quarterbacks except for Lamar Jackson. At running back, so Eckler's going to depend, obviously, on who the quarterback is. Like if they get a really nice upgraded quarterback, maybe he's a solid pick. But second round for Austin Eckler, to me, feels early, at least initially, kind of thinking about it. Todd Gurley, I mean, that's tough. He did not perform well. He didn't perform well last year from an efficiency standpoint, but if you look at the numbers, I mean, he was technically a fringe running back 1. It was just, it all came on the touchdowns, and he'd have these random games where he scores 2-3 touchdowns, and then he'd have like 4 total points for like the next 2 weeks. I know it wasn't that extreme, but he was really bad for a good portion of the season. Miles Sanders, I actually don't know about Jordan Howard. I don't know his contract situation. If we got confirmation that it was going to be Sanders the full year as the guy we saw late in the year, that wouldn't be a bad pick. My lean right now would be Carson, though. I mean, if there's even that chance that Penny opens the season on the pup, like you got to think late second round for Carson. Even if we have a situation like last season where Penny was healthy for like a good chunk of the season, Carson's pretty good. So I'm not upset with a Carson pick. I think I would potentially do Drake if I knew that David Johnson was gone, but I don't know that. I think I might go Carson here. At wide receiver, our other options would be Galladay, Cooper, Moore, Odell, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, not knowing who his quarterback is. Not bad, but I don't think there's a huge drop-off to where I'm going to have a pick in in 4 picks. So 4? Yeah, it would be 4. So the 4 are going to go by. I mean, I'm cool with any of these players, so I don't really need to do that. So I think I'm going to lock up Carson, even though 7% of experts don't agree. 2 wide receivers get taken, so Cooper and Galladay, the 2 I wanted, get taken. So now we've locked up Zeke and Carson. My thought here would be running back would be great, but we need to take note that running back is now less valuable on our team because we don't have other positions. So as you pick, 1 running back, 2 running back, 3 running back, the amount of value you gain from each additional running back decreases. But worth noting that there are plenty of busts every year, and you can't guarantee that even your first 2 running backs are going to be good. And with a potential drop-off kind of in this range here, it's not a bad idea to take a 3rd running back because, we'd be in this range of wide receiver again. And honestly, of those players, I'm cool with those guys too. And I don't think there's a big drop-off between Moore, Odell, Robinson, and Ridley, Chark, Thielen. Is there really that big of a drop-off? But there's a pretty big drop-off between Gurley, Gordon, Drake, Ingram, and Geis, Freeman, Hunt. Those aren't great. So I actually think I'm going to take a running back here. And with how much the Cardinals like Drake, with how much we're expecting that offense to improve, first-year head coach, rookie quarterback, a bunch of young skill position players, multiple injuries at running back, terrible offensive line. We got to think they're going to draft some offensive linemen. We got to think that Kyler Murray is going to improve in his second year. We got to think that Kingsbury is kind of working out some of the kinks. We got to think they're going to improve on offense this year. And if they like Drake as much as they say they like Drake, and he was awesome to end the year, that is not a bad pick in the 3rd round. So Now that we've locked in Zeke, Carson, Drake, we should be looking at tight end and wide receiver because we're not adding enough value with these extra running backs to forego wide receiver again. And wide receiver looks great. I mean, Diggs, Juju, Tyler Lockett, Chark, Metcalf, Thielen. All these guys are awesome. I'm going to get 2 of these guys that I want. What is Diggs' contract? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if... I'm operating under the assumption he stays in Minnesota, but I actually don't know that. I'll have to look at the end of this, what he's looking like. But Diggs is great. I would personally probably lean Juju. The dude had a lot of injuries, and they do have some solid weapons around him that can take production away, but he's still by far the best wide receiver in that team. They're not going to be as bad offensively as they were this past season, and it's just safe. We know Juju is a great receiver, going to be heavily involved. He's a very safe pick in the 4th round, so I think that's a really good pick. But I would love to get Juju and Diggs. No, Diggs gets taken. You could argue that you should take Diggs and hope that Juju gets around there, but I kind of had a feeling both were going to get taken. So wide receiver again, Woods obviously had a phenomenal season. We should expect similar production this next year. Chark had a phenomenal year. We should expect the same to happen. I mean, he was clearly like the best receiver on the team last year. We missed out on Diggs, but Thielen, I know Thielen's getting up there in age, but there wasn't a drop-off. There was a drop-off in overall production from a total standpoint, but that's because he was hurt for a good portion of the season. If you look at the weeks where he was healthy, Thielen was still really good. So I expect him to be pretty good again. I expect that offense to be pretty good again. And that's another really safe pick. And I think safe has a connotation of like no upside, but like no one's going to argue that Adam Thielen doesn't have any upside. Metcalf ended the season great, but I'd be a little hesitant to take him over these guys just because it was up and down throughout the season. He had really nice spikes. He looked really good in the playoffs, but I mean, I owned him last year. I know that the ups and downs were pretty annoying. If this were my draft right now in February, I honestly think I'd go with Chark. I know who he is. He's a fantastic receiver. He's got a great market share on that team, and I don't exactly expect them to be winning every week, so I expect them to have to throw the ball. So I like that pick. Here's our team right now. So we got Zeke, Carson, Juju, Chark, and Drake. We should look at how tight end's looking right now. So we can still get Hunter Henry, but remember the caveat. Tyler Higbee. Man, if you guaranteed me he was going to use that same amount, this is a steal. I'm not sure you can guarantee that. Noah Fant taking that next step. That's not a bad pick. Dallas Goedert. I'd probably take those guys ahead of him still. Gesicki, that's not a bad pick. Although you would really want Fitzmagic to be playing for that team again. Njoku, going to depend on where he goes. Disley, he tore his Achilles, right? So he's probably going to be a fade, you'd think, this year because it takes a while to get back from an Achilles injury. And it's probably just not worth going there. I don't remember the week that he hurt it. It was relatively early in the season, but Achilles, you lose so much explosiveness that I wouldn't expect him to be back to what he was, especially at the beginning of the season. Quarterback, not even going to consider looking at this at this point. There are a billion quarterbacks. If you were going quarterback here, it would probably be Winston or Josh Allen, with a lean on Josh Allen since we don't know what team Winston's going to be playing for. But taking Josh Allen, taking Aaron Rodgers, Ryan, Wentz, Stafford, all those are excellent picks. So probably not going tight end. I think I can wait a little longer just because I don't know who Henry's quarterback's going to be. So for me, it would come down to Damian Williams, Phillip Lindsay, David Montgomery, or Gallup or Deebo Samuel probably. That's what I would come down to. We don't need to lean running back or wide receiver. We're at 3 and 2. If anything, I might even lean running back because the drop-off is so incredible. And since this is the portion of the draft, we're in the 6th round where we're shooting for pure upside. I don't care if these picks bust. I just want guys that can win me leagues. Damian obviously fits that bill if you look at how he finished the season. When he was healthy this season, he crushed. Every single game that he was healthy, he crushed. So why can't that be the same next season? Obviously, a lot can change in rosters, but if nothing big changes, that's an excellent pick in the 6th round. Still have our options at wide receiver because no one really picked ahead of us. I'm tempted to just take. So I've got Zeke, Carson, Kenyon Drake, and Damian Williams. I'm tempted to just take my 5th running back and say, I'm good with these 5. Maybe I'll take one really late because the drop-off's incredible. Just how crazy this drop-off is. So a lot of wide receivers that are still pretty good in the later rounds. Do I just take another running back? Am I cool with Juju and Chark? It would basically be... It would be Lindsey. I mean, I would say I would take Lindsey or Gallup or Debo. And I don't think the drop between Gallup, Debo, and some of these other options is so great that I can pass up Lindsey in the 7th. So I'm going to do it. I'm good at running back now. All the running backs are going to be gone anyways, so it's good that I'm good there. But having Zeke, Carson, Drake, Williams, Lindsey, really nice core. 5 guys I really like. We're not going to look at running back for a little bit. Wide receiver. So we don't know where Robbie Anderson's going to be going. Hollywood Brown would be a really good pick for fill-in weeks. If Juju or Chark gets injured or he's got a great matchup, I mean, we know the upside that Brown has if he's playing every snap next season because he didn't play every snap this year. Shepard's not a bad pick. Alshon's not a terrible pick, but Alshon and Marvin Jones and even Emmanuel Sanders, the upside, it's not great. They'll probably outproduce their ADP, but it's not going to feel like it. Fuller obviously has a bunch of upside, but it's a little frustrating owning him when he gets 13 for 200 and 3 touchdowns one week and then 2 for 30 the next week. That's just frustrating. It's really tough to know when to play him. So I would go with Hollywood with this pick, because we know he's the guy in a very high-scoring offense. So I like that one. I basically get another pick. I don't even think a wide receiver's taken there. We'll look at tight ends. So we've got Higbee, Fant, Gesicki. It's kind of the names I'm looking at right now. I don't see anyone else really worth taking at this spot. So I don't know enough information about Higbee to give a really solid take. But I know that there's a chance at least that they already look at the film from last year and they're like, Higbee was way better than Everett was when we were trying to feature him at points. And Higbee's a better blocker, so we'd prefer to just keep him on the field every play. And if that does end up happening, then he will be a big steal in the 9th round. So I'm going to go Higbee here. And it also helped that I don't really care which one of the wide receivers I got next. So how many picks do we have left? We've got quarterback, defense, 3, held up 4 fingers, you can't even see it, 3 skill position players. We're going to want at least 2 of those to be wide receiver. We can probably still wait on quarterback. Yeah, we can still wait on quarterback. Still a bunch of guys I like. Not looking at running back. Not going to get 2 tight ends. I don't even care who's available late. So we're just looking at wide receivers for these next 2 picks, I think. So what 2 receivers do we want that have a lot of upside and a good chance of hitting that upside? I would probably take Deontay Johnson if I didn't have Juju. Since I have Juju, I don't want Johnson to hit his ceiling because that means my Juju pick failed. And you don't handcuff wide receivers. So that one's a no for me. We've got Crowder. If he can stay healthy for the full season and if Anderson leaves, that's not a bad pick. Curtis Samuel, didn't he run a top? I don't remember the stat. I feel like he was top 5 in routes run last season. And he didn't have a bad year given that he was not playing with good quarterbacks. So if Newton can come back this season and be as good as we thought he was going to be going into this year, that's not a bad pick. Will Fuller, I kind of poo-pooed him, but this is the 10th round, and Fuller probably should not be available at this spot. But John Ross isn't a bad pick either. If we consider they're going to have improved quarterback play, we consider that A.J. Green is likely to return, is going to take away total volume. But let's say A.J. Green returns. They've got Tyler Boyd over the middle, and they've got John Ross as the 2 on the outside and 3 wide receiver sets. You really going to tell me that John Ross is going to have like a lot of coverage going his way, right? Like he's going to be open a ton. So it's going to be a volatile play, but he should receive a lot of volume. I don't think I could justify taking him over Samuel and Fuller, which is why I won't. But that's kind of my take right now, because we assume that they're going to take Burrow 1. I mean, they're not going to trade out of it, which means they're going to have a good quarterback play. And if Green's coming back, Green's getting doubled a lot. Green has a lot of attention. You can't exactly not put defenders in the box when you got Joe Mixon. So that's not a bad pick. I think that's a good pick. Harry could take a step up, but we don't know if Brady's returning. And if they play with Stidham, I don't want any receivers on New England. And then Jackson, I mean, another year up there. I don't know. I'd need to see reports out of camp before I took him. So I think I'm going to take Fuller and hope that Curtis Samuel is there in my next pick. And he's not. He goes 1 after me. That's unfortunate. But I think I would just take Crowder. I know it's not an upside pick, but it is in a sense that maybe he does go into the season as their like quote unquote 1, not their 1 on the outside, but their like best receiver, their most targeted receiver. Maybe I see someone else scrolling through, but I don't. The only other people you could look at, the only people I can make an argument for are John Ross or Crowder. But I do think Crowder has much more overall volume potential. Well, how about this? If I don't know the answer, what is quarterback looking like? Because I have to wait 18 for my next pick. Maybe I just take... I don't even know if Breeze could retire. Matt Ryan's not a bad pick here. I know I prefer mobile quarterbacks. I feel like Matt Ryan or Aaron Rodgers, your favorite between the two of them would be the next pick. I have to think the answer would be Rodgers, so I'm going to go with him. But locking that up, like, here's the big conversation that's going to happen this season is we've realized that you need to be mobile. Like, you need to have at least the ability to get me 20 or 30 rushing yards in a game as a quarterback. Guys like Baker Mayfield at this point are, I'm not going to say undraftable, but very difficult to draft because say you get 300 yards and a touchdown, that's still not that many points. And we've seen these mobile quarterbacks like Josh Allen is an exceptional pick because even when he only throws for 150 and a touchdown, the dude runs for like 70, 80 yards. And that's the equivalent of like, 200? That's way quick math, but that's like 200 passing yards to add on top of it. So it's much, much safer and much, much better for upside just picking mobile quarterbacks. So I'm not going to say that Aaron Rodgers is like the most mobile quarterback in the league, but he's got the ability to get rushing touchdowns. He has the ability to run for 10, 20, 30 yards. Just add in that 1 to 3 points each week. And of course, we know he's got a ton of upside throwing the ball. So here's the team. We've got these last 2 picks. We can basically have 2 people left on the board because there's only 4 between us. We have for running back, Zeke, Carson, Drake, Damian Williams, and Lindsey. And then for wide receivers, we got Juju, Chark, Hollywood Brown, and Fuller. I'm thinking that wide receiver we probably are a little bit more thin at, so we should lean that direction unless we see some running back that we really like. I don't. Maybe Ito Smith actually is not a bad pick if we assume that they don't bring anyone in and they do release Freeman. Ito would be the guy, right? I mean, he had, I believe it was the neck injury, but he had a chance last season to do pretty solid, but then he got hurt. And his backups did not do that great. So Ito could be the guy going into this season. So that's not a bad pick, actually. But yeah, we would take Ross here because I just went all over him. I don't see anyone else. Hunter Renfrow, potentially, if Brady goes to Oakland and he likes the slot, Renfrow wouldn't be a bad pick. I don't see anyone else. So we'll take John Ross right here, and then we'll see. I would probably take Ito because it is always nice having a bunch of running backs because you're going to tell me Lindsey can't get hurt and they can't not use Williams in the way that we'd like them to use them, and you're left with only Zeke, Carson, Drake, which could definitely be fine. You want someone else. So having Ito there is really nice. And then, I always just finish up the team because most leagues, some leagues don't require it, but the leagues I play in still require you to draft a defense. And it's just do it when you're doing a mock draft. So we don't care about the score ever. The team. So our starters are Aaron Rodgers, Zeke, Chris Carson, Juju, DJ Chark, Tyler Higbee, the Jets, and Kenyon Drake. That's a really solid starting lineup, and I like it a lot because I know these dudes' roles, at least right now, in February. I know everyone on this starting lineup is probably like the go-to option on their offense, and that's really nice, not having to take massive risk and being like, he could produce if he ends up being better than this guy. No, I know these guys are good. Bench, Damian Williams, Philip Lindsay, Hollywood Brown, Will Fuller, John Ross, and Ito Smith. Basically, the common theme there is upside. We know that Brown, Fuller, Ross have crazy upside. We know Williams, Lindsay. Lindsay could be a running back 1, and then Ito Smith could be a starter. So that'll do it for this Mock Draft Monday. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, how about we hit the like button, and how about we subscribe if we're new? Thanks for watching.